Welcome to the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast to support you in your spiritual awakening and personal development. As a spiritual teacher, healer, and intuitive coach, my intention is to empower you to live your ultimate potential and your ultimate life. As a former medical doctor and mystic, my role is to bridge the gap between science and spirituality to support you in understanding more of your multidimensional aspects. I share on a diverse range of topics, and it's all to support your greatest becoming. My mission is to continue reaching millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind for the creation of the new earth. Thank you for being here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, and we are entering into season 3 of the podcast. So every 3 months, I like to say it's a new season because it is. As we know, there's 4 seasons in a year, and it's just been naturally happening like this. And in different seasons, I've also had different kinds of support with the podcast. So now we're coming into a new season. And mainly it's because I want to speak on love and relationships. And the first season was more about getting to know me, getting to know what I stand for, what I'm about. The second season, we kind of dug deeper into different topics and we talked about world events as well. And this season, I feel really called to talk about love and relationships. So that's going to be through November, December, January, and that's going to bring us into also right before Valentine's Day. But we're going to be done with love and relationships, but who knows if we continue. I really like to see where the energy takes us. So thank you for being here thus far. Maybe you're just tuning in now. If you are, welcome. You can always go back to all the previous podcast episodes. And the reason why I want to talk about love and relationships specifically is you may not know a fun fact, but in 2014, I was on a Fox reality show. And on this Fox reality show, they named me Dr. Love. And this was because my views on love and relationships. And it was also because when they asked me to finish the sentence, which is my utopia is all about, I said it's all about love, because it is. For me, utopia, living our ultimate life, like love is the reason we're alive. 100%. So I really felt called to speak more on this. And from an astrological perspective, being a doctor of love is absolutely in my stars. It's written in the stars. So Venus is the planet of love and femininity as well, and beauty. And my Venus is my midheaven. And essentially, it's like that's part of my mission on the planet, to bring the feminine, to bring beauty, and most of all, to bring love and to activate love in all beings and things. And I remember even when I was a medical doctor and I was just transitioning out, I had some friends in the entertainment industry, and a lot of them felt, because of the level of comfort I have with speaking about topics about love and sexuality and relationships, so many of them were like, Nikki Starr, you need to be the next Dr. Ruth. And she's like the quintessential love and sex doctor. And for me, I felt it was very limiting to just choose a niche. So I was like, well, I really also love talking about business and spirituality. But of course, I really love talking about love. And I've worked with couples since I really started coaching. And I've helped couples rescind their divorce papers and come back into love. And I've helped couples who were in a sexless marriage find sexuality in a new way, which included 4 to 5 hour tantra rituals. And it's just beautiful to see what the spiritual and intuitive guidance that I provide has shared in the realm of love. And I've worked with some incredible teachers as well in the realm of love and relationships, and specifically masculine and feminine polarity. And that's a big part of what I want to talk about today because it lays a foundation for everything. And I want to talk about the nuances of love as well. So we're going to talk about a few different things today. And when it comes to love and relationships, I really view it all as a highly spiritual topic, and that love is a path to ascension, and that relationships are portals to our greatest ascension because it is through the mirror of relationships that we can know ourselves. We cannot be enlightened by ourselves. And if we think we're enlightened by ourselves, I believe it was Ram Dass that said, well, go home and visit your family if you really think you're enlightened. So I also want to talk about relationships in this season from the family perspective, from the platonic perspective, and also from the belovedship perspective, the romantic perspective. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And if you have questions or certain topics that you want to talk about, I'm happy to receive them. So you just send your questions my way. It's always my favorite thing to respond on. And it's very interesting too, because even though I've always been geared towards love and relationships as a person, I was once in a 9-year relationship. And then when I was going through my spiritual awakening, I really spent the greater part of the decade single. I had some relationships here and there, but not that lasted for that long of a time until my current relationship now. Because for me, I was really looking for that one person to really go the distance with. And I really believe in the intelligence of the universe and the intelligence of how our perfect match is perfect for our ascension process. And it's not like super common that you find someone who's your perfect match. You can meet people for a lesson, but to really stay the distance and use love as a path to our spiritual growth, it does require a very particular match to even be able to stay together that long. Because oftentimes the connection will fizzle out if it's not for that relationship that will go the distance. And there's many things that must align. And then at the same time, it's such an intelligent process that even though we try to dissect it and see how love is as a science, like we try to give it qualities and say how it's supposed to happen. But it's funny because it finds us when we least expect when it's least expected, and oftentimes who we think or how we think the person will be, that's not always the case. And that's what I love about love. It just is. And as I mentioned, there's the many nuances as well. And another thing about my background in love is when I was initiated in a mystery school and I lived in community, I was part of an esoteric couples path. So this is really where we think of the twin flame union, the guardians of the twin flame. And we're going to talk about soulmates. We're going to talk about twin flames as well in certain episodes. Today's kind of like the intro. And I just want to give my thanks to love and relationships because I feel it's the reason we are alive. Like, absolutely. And it's what makes life so exciting, so juicy, so beautiful, so nourishing. So I'm really excited on these topics. So, first, I want to talk about love and the nuances of love. So, love is the force of co creation. Love is the natural caffeine. Love is who we are at our truest essence. And it is the ultimate frequency, both from where we come and also to where we're going. And when I mean to where we're going, this is what our spiritual path is all about. It's returning to the love that we are. So true spirituality, in my perspective, is not how many hours of yoga and meditation and spiritual practices and rituals you do, but rather I believe that true spirituality and true spiritual awakening is how much, whether it's time, whether it's depth, duration, how much you embody love, compassion, unconditional love, no matter what is happening around you. How
you can be that frequency of love that emanates out, that is inspiring to others, that is so powerful that it can transmute any situation, that it inspires and fuels your creation process. When we're in love, it's like anything is possible. People create masterpieces of work because of love lost, love found. And it's so beautiful to witness people's process in love and to see what comes because of love and how much more beautiful the result is because of love. And there is love, like capital L love. When I talk about love, I'm oftentimes talking about universal love and unconditional love. Universal love is that love for all beings and things. It's like the spiritual love. It's the love for nature. It's the love we feel just because we are, just in our beingness, that radiance. That is love. When we're embodied as our true essence, we are love. When we are living in alignment with our truth and acting in alignment with our truth and acting in alignment with our soul and our heart's desire, we feel that love. So when you are love. Any form of anxieties or worries or anything like this is not love. This is not you. This is oftentimes distortions in the field. This is you tapping into other people's energies, tapping into energies into the space that's not you. It's when your energy and your being is not fully in your body, then you don't feel love because you're not fully present here and now. But when you're fully present here and now, you are living as love. And when I say unconditional love, I am speaking of the love for what is. The love in trusting that everything is perfect, that everything is unfolding for the highest and best good of all, that you are love, everything is love, everything that you meet, and that you accept it all. Not that you have to receive it and take it in and absorb it if it's something that you may not agree with or that is not in alignment with your soul, but it's you can accept what is, you can love what is. Unconditional love is having that compassion, remembering that everyone is doing their best in every moment. And this is what we are all meant to be living and embodying in the truth of our soul when we are operating from our highest light. So when I speak in the sun, if you're watching the video version of this, the sun is now coming through the clouds as I'm speaking on this topic of love. So I'm going to shift slightly. But when we think of love and when we are speaking of love, we are speaking of the force of creation. And when we are embodying spiritual love, there's really only one kind of love, like love is love. When we are operating from that high spiritual frequency, it is love. Love is the highest frequency. And everything else is just an illusion and a distortion. So if you met every moment in love, there would be no fear. If you met every moment in love, there would be no hate. If you met every moment in love, there would be no feeling of that separation. There would be no judgment. And so the invitation with today's podcast is really inviting you to show up as love in every situation that you meet, in every moment of your day, no matter what is happening. What if you loved everything that came through, everything that happened? What if you loved what is? Whether it was a person, a situation, even if that situation was frustrating you, it's like, okay, I am loving this with the light of my love. May this transform and transmute. And from that place, of course, may solutions come through to support you in meeting it in a new way. But that's really what the intention is. We're beginning our journey in love and relationships with this podcast episode from a space of reminding you to connect back to the truth of who you are which is love, which is your spiritual embodiment, which is you. You, capital you, your highest self, you. And even as I just talk about love and I just speak the frequency of love, this is enough that it's shifting my frequency. And now I know why I'm like, this is why I feel myself shifting more into this niche. Also, a feminine embodiment coach, because I am the feminine pole of the masculine pole. So when we get into romantic love, there's the masculine and the feminine meeting, regardless if you're in a heterosexual or homosexual relationship, there is that magnetism of the poles meeting. And then that brings us to romantic love. And that romantic love is that union between two to create divine union, to create two wholes coming together to form a greater union. And this is a union where we meet ourselves in so many places. And it's a place that we cannot hide, especially. And there's a sutra I love so much, a radiant sutra, a yogic sutra, a tantric sutra, which is, if you dare to know the secrets of the universe, dare to love one person and go deeper still. And I'm paraphrasing it, but it's this essence of, when we focus our love, that is a portal for us to ascend, because when you choose to love one person, you cannot run away from the challenging moments. And that love is the glue that keeps you there, that makes it worth the evolution, that makes it worth evolving and ascending and meeting ourselves over and over and over again, and being able to say, I'm sorry, and being able to shift things that are not in alignment with our highest good and the highest good of our relationship and the life and the family we're creating. And of course, there is polyamory as well. And polyamory love is a type of, all love is a choice, and every relationship has its own rules, and we're going to get into that. And the truth is, at our highest evolution, we're technically in unconditional love, universal love for all that is. So you can think of yourself as platonically loving every single person. And the moment it shifts is the moment our sexual energy gets involved. And we can consciously choose to say, like, I am choosing to love one person over and over again. And then there is the path to polyamory as well, where you can love many romantically. And I feel in that container, you work on different aspects. You work on aspects of jealousy, for example, and you work on expanding your capacity to love. And I have found most friends that I've known who have participated in that path have really said it really worked their jealousy, like, so much. And in different kinds of shadows, whereas in divine union, like one-to-one monogamous relationship, you really look at all the parts of yourself, and especially your shadow aspects, because you can't just like go to your next partner when you're in a disagreement, or when you're like, okay, I feel things are getting crunchy here and there's a trigger, I can take a pause here and go to my other partner. So there's less, you can't escape. When you're in monogamy, you can't escape. And it is such a devotional practice, all of our relationships, of course, but especially monogamy and divine union. And I want to now, as I shift from defining love from the universal, the unconditional, and of course in universal love is that platonic love for all that is. And then we have our romantic love. And then we have that unconditional love, which is the umbrella within both the universal love and the romantic love. We have the compassionate, unconditional love, like loving what is. And as we shift into relationships, there are the platonic relationships between friends and family, and then even colleagues as well. And then there is the romantic love, and then I feel like the two branches of that would be like the polyamory love and then the monogamy love. And when you're in any form of dating, you may be more in that polyamorous energy where there's multiple people in your field. And then there is that monogamous when you choose one partner. And all relationships are portals for our greatest ascension because every single relationship is a mirror. And I have my ultimate relationship course where I go very deep into all of these topics. But I just felt it was important to share it on the podcast as well, because every day you can choose to see every single interaction as a great teacher. And the moment you start to shift your perception to that, our reality becomes so much easier and there's less challenge. Like when you meet anyone, it could be a colleague, it could be a stranger in the street, in the grocery shop, and there's some kind of interaction, you can see every single person as a teacher. And then there is less suffering when things do not happen perfectly the way we expect them to or want them to. And when we see relationship of all kinds as a spiritual practice, this begins to shift our experience of reality in such a beautiful way. And we're able to handle things that happen with so much more ease and grace. Because with coaching people over and doing healing work with people over the past decade, when I tell you the main things that people suffer from are relational, because we are in relationship with everything. So that's first and foremost. But really, when I've seen where people have had their most suffering, it has been with primary relationship in love. And then the second thing would be connected to work. So colleague, and then of course, family. So I'm trying to, like, when I look at I feel like, I guess it's been all of them equally, but definitely first is love and romantic relationships have been the most challenging. And then I would say colleague and family are kind of tied in terms of creating challenge and suffering in people. So the sooner we learn and know how to handle these dynamics, the easier our life becomes. We really come to see life through this lens with more beauty, and we don't take things so personally. And this is really the biggest gift of all. The moment we stop taking things personally, this is the moment that everything shifts. And it's so beautiful to witness. Now I want to shift into a bit more of seeing love and relationship as a spiritual practice. So the first piece is seeing your embodiment of love as the goal. And I have so many things that can help you with this. And one thing, if you want to go deeper, is the Ascension Code Love, which I've recommended this before, especially because if you're wanting to create peace on earth and you're wanting to create harmony in your relationships, the moment you show up as love, it's like you're disarmored. Like there's no fight that can happen. If one person is in love, as love, showing up as love, even if another person is combative, a fight cannot happen. And that's the beauty of this. Like a fight cannot happen. That's your goal. Your goal is love, you being love. If you show up as love, every single relationship in your life will transform for the better. And it's really exciting when you start to realize that the power is in your hand. Like every single one of your relationships can transmute. Now, when you are embodied as love, that doesn't mean that you're acting as a doormat. It doesn't mean that you're just taking whatever people throw your way, but it's how you meet people. So for example, if someone meets you aggressively, and let's say, so we can call that with fire, and you meet them back with fire, that creates a bigger fire. But if you meet them with water, you put out their fire. So, for example, let's say if your family member or even your beloved comes home from work and they're really stressed out and they snap at you, instead of snapping back or with some tone being like, don't talk to me like that, you can have that compassion to be like, something must be going on because they don't normally respond to me that way. And you just said, how is your day? Like, is everything okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? And you open the space to be really inviting. This shifts everything and it disarms the person. So even these little things of creating greater connection is showing up as love. And so when you create greater connection to show up as love, then you shift the entire dynamic of the relationship. So in the bonus content, I'm going to guide you through something else you can do that's energetic. And of course, in the Love Ascension Code, I share several things of how for you to be just love. But in the bonus content, I'm going to show you how to show up as love from an energetic perspective, because it's not just something you say, but the invitation, your homework, if you want to have some homework from this experience, from this talk, from this chat to discussion. And I always want to make these podcasts super practical. So yeah, you're listening to it, you're taking in this information, but at the same time, this is really about you stepping into your role and frequency as love, and to see how your life will drastically transform and change the more you come into the love frequency. So with that, next I want to support you in seeing relationships as a spiritual practice. So let's say when we have relationships that are super easy and just loving and amazing, even still, and oftentimes these people become our best friends or our lovers, our beloveds, we still may have moments of challenge with them. And of course, with our family, like our families are our number one teacher. If you showed up to every single encounter with, what is this person teaching me? What am I learning from this person? What am I learning from this dynamic? Every single encounter, especially the ones that challenge you, I guarantee you it won't be so tough on you anymore. If you really saw how everything is supporting you in being your greatest self, it's like, okay, this person is my master teacher. What am I taking away from this experience, this encounter, this interaction? And in the bonus content, I'm going to share with you an energetic technique that will support the relationship to come into greater peace and harmony no matter what. So that is the goal of our time together today, is to really support you in seeing love and relationships as your spiritual practice and your path to ascension. Now, just setting the intention alone is going to start to shift your love and relationship in your life. And I want you to really start to also start to receive love from everywhere and everything. If something is given to you, be like, oh, I'm receiving love right now. Think of everything as a reception of love. So for example, if you are watching the sunset right now, the sun is setting before my very eyes. And as those sun rays come through the window, I am receiving love from the universe. When you smell a rose or you see a rose and you just see how beautiful it is and you love it, know that it loves you. When someone smiles at you, it's like, I am receiving love right now. Because the more you expand your capacity to receive love, the more you're able to give it. And vice versa. I invite you to give the love you wish to receive. So let's say if you're in a relationship that might be challenging in some way, family, friend, beloved, how can you give what you want to receive? And if you say, oh, but I'm always the one who's giving in, or I'm always the one to give, in spirituality is a devotional practice. You give not because of what you can get. You give because it comes from your heart, and you know that you are infinite love. You know that you are tapped into the infinite source of love and the infinite source of all that is. So you giving, you know you will receive, because it is the law of reciprocity. You will receive, but it may not be from where you give. And that's okay. But you're always receiving, and the universe always is keeping tabs. So do not worry, like, oh, but I'm not getting love from there. Like, even when you think of like having children, like you give so much love to them, but your children may not always give you love back, but maybe your mother gives you love, or your partner gives you love, or someone else gives you love, right? And so if we start to open our capacity to give and receive love unconditionally from expected and unexpected ways, and you start to count the blessings of love that you're receiving and count the blessings of love that you're given, you're going to start to see your life in a whole new way, and it's going to be so beautiful. And so with that, I'm so excited for this next season of the podcast, where we're diving deeper into love and all things love related. And we're going to talk about all the good stuff of romance and family dynamics. And especially with the holidays, I know that's going to be really helpful for people. And we are going to grow our heart muscle stronger to give and really receive love in all the different ways. And so with that, I send you so much love. Thank you for doing this great work. Thank you for tuning in, because this is really where we start to transform our reality, by transforming how we perceive life and how we respond and relate to life. And so we're going to go deep into the relational world. And so with that, I send you so much love. Big kiss, and I will see you inside the bonus and for our next episode. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Please like this podcast and share it with anyone you feel would benefit. Subscribe to the podcast to receive bonus content, and remember, every Monday the video version goes live on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on the ascension path with me and for doing this great work.